You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show. And yes, I am your host, Rick Franzi, and we have a special version of our nonprofit show today. We have Ronnetta Johnson. She is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Waymakers. Ronnetta, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. We appreciate being able to talk with you.
I love the opportunities that we do frequently where we don't talk to for-profit companies, we talk to nonprofit organizations, and we start always with the leader, kind of the CEO, your personal journey. So talk to us a little bit about your background and kind of your path to Waymakers.
Well, I've been focused on service and leadership from early on in life, and that was, my parents kind of set that up for me. And so when I got my undergraduate, I got in sociology and worked primarily in nonprofits throughout my career. I've actually been fortunate to spend 28 years at Waymakers. So I've been here for a long time and had lots of opportunities. And one of the opportunities I had during that time was to work on a master's degree in organizational leadership. So I did that as I was going through my path. I've served as a program director for Waymakers, as the HR director for Waymakers, and then director of victim assistance programs, and I've been the CEO for the last 8 years. It was never my intention to stay here that long. That just wasn't how I kind of imagined my projection, but because of the work we do, which is really amazing work, and more importantly, because of the people that work with us and the clients we serve and the staff that we have, it's a wonderful place to be, and I've stuck around.
So that's a perfect segue to my next question. Tell our audience about the mission for Waymakers, a bit about the organization and the mission.
Great. Well, Waymakers has a really great Orange County origin story. We actually began as a pilot project in the UCI Department of Social Ecology in 1972. And at that time, the resources for youth who were considered delinquent were really, the focus was punitive for those kids. And they didn't look at core issues of what was happening with those kids or how to best address them. So Captain Green from the Costa Mesa Police Department connected with Professor Arnold Binder at UCI, and they wanted to establish programs that would better work with these kids. And so they established an internship program. And as a result, counseling students were embedded in police departments. And from this perspective, it seems kind of normal now for nonprofits to do that. At that time, it was completely revolutionary, and there were they weren't exactly welcomed in with open arms at the beginning, but after about 6 months, they saw that it was really making a difference for these kids and their families. And so within a year, they'd established a nonprofit organization, and we have built and developed from there. So what started off with 2 volunteer students is an organization that has 385 employees throughout Orange County, and we are Orange County based and serve Orange County. They really set a groundwork for an agency that's been innovative and really focused on partnership. And so today Waymakers has 5 areas of impact. We shelter children. We work with kids from 11 through 25 and provide crisis residential, homeless and runaway services. We are the primary provider for crime victim services in Orange County. And so we work with victims of all types of crime and have specialized programs that focus on human trafficking, gang violence, family violence, support for surviving family members of homicide victims. We respond to mass victimization. So anything that's crime related, we're involved with that. We work with youth who are involved with or at risk of involvement with law enforcement and have mental health issues. And so we provide counseling supports and other kinds of activities that really focus on mental health and housing and education and employment. So that whole wraparound concept. We do mediation services, so we're in the courts for mediation and in the community. And then we do a lot of education programs. So we do drug, alcohol, tobacco awareness programs for youth, and then prevention programs for sexual assault victims and for victims of human trafficking. So we have comprehensive services that work in Orange County. We serve last year over 35,000 individuals.
You know, that is quite the portfolio of services that Waymaker provides, and you maybe don't realize it when you live in Orange County, but that's a lot of people in need. 35,000 yes. That you helped, and I'm sure, Ronnetta, there were more that you could help if you could get the message to them, and etc. That's not 100% of the population, but yeah,
absolutely.
Some of the things that you talked about, I just like this human trafficking idea.
Mm-hmm.
I've been made aware by others in Orange County of how prevalent of a problem that is here in Orange County. I was unaware that human trafficking was a big thing here in the county, but is that your experience as well, Ronnetta?
Well, interestingly, Orange County is a destination location. So what that means is that traffickers will bring victims from other places in the country, across California, and will be here in Orange County with those victims. And that's because of all of the tourism and different aspects that draw people in. Mm-hmm. And so we frequently get victims who are not from here. And so part of what we do is we help to facilitate their journeys home, and we connect them with services outside of Orange County. We also have a lot of victims who land here and end up here. And so we'll do long-term services for those individuals. But it is a much bigger issue than, we like to think. And trafficking is also a hidden crime. So sometimes the victims of human trafficking don't identify as such, and so there's a lot of complications involved with it.
During your discussion of the services that you provide, I think I heard you say the term mass victims. What is that?
Yes, mass victimization. So those are situations where a crime has impacted more than just a single victim or a couple of victims. Usually mass victimization impacts at least 4 or more individuals. And we have responded to a variety of situations where mass victimization has occurred.
What's an example of?
Well, most recently was, and I've lost the name right this minute, but the bar and restaurant that is at
Cook's Corner.
Cook's Corner. Yes, thank you for that. So we sometimes will respond on scene after the scene has been secured. Sometimes we work with them in the aftermath. So we may not be on scene, but we work with them in the aftermath. So when you have a situation like Cook's Corner, you have obviously the direct victims who are either killed or hurt. And then you have the witnesses that are definitely impacted by that. And then you have all of the people that may not have even been there that day, but who go to Cook's Corner, have that be a place of refuge for them, for a lot of them, or a place where they go with their families. And so it has a really broad community impact. And so what we do is that we work with the direct victims, but we also work with the witnesses. We also create community meetings. So we're trying to respond to the overall impact of those crimes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the people that own Cook's Corner and the employees that were there during that time.
Absolutely.
They would be in that category as well, wouldn't they, Ronnetta?
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's look at your long and storied history, but I'm sure there were moments, or maybe a moment in time, when there was a serious challenge facing Waymakers. And could you share a little bit about that
Sure.
time?
Waymakers has been fortunate because we've been really innovative and have been kind of good at staying in our lanes. But we have had periods of growth and then stepping back, but we've never been in a situation where we felt like the entire organization was at risk. So that's positive. For example, during the pandemic, we were able to continue all of our services. We took new approaches and new ways of doing it, but we were able to do that and continue to have connection with the people that needed our services. I think one of the challenges that we're facing right now is that there is a 44.7% cut to Victim of Crime Act funding, and that's for victim services throughout the country. And so VOCA funding is the single biggest resource for crime victim programs, and the cuts that are going to happen if nothing intervenes with that are really going to be devastating for people in Orange County, across California, and across the nation. And these are people who've already been devastated through criminal acts of others. And so getting them the services and support that they need is really critical. In Orange County, services for victims include emotional support and help through the criminal justice system, but it also includes safety planning, housing, food resources, financial support, and a lot of other services as they walk on this path to recovery. And so last year, Waymakers served over 20,000 individual victims, and then their family members on top of that. And the funding cuts are going to require cuts to staff. They're going to limit the resources we have available to help individuals. We'll still provide all those services, but they're going to have to be rationed, and we'll have waiting lists. We may also have limited ability to serve victims of nonviolent crimes. The news of this has been within the last few weeks, and so we're still adjusting and trying to work out plans. But it's heartbreaking for those of us who do this work, and for the individuals. The impact on the individual crime victims is going to be significant. So we're working with state organizations to advocate for gap funding and long-term solutions. And there's a lot of legislative and advocacy going on with the governors. We're also internally trying to build plans, raise additional funds, but the gap is so large and coming so quickly that the short-term impact is going to be significant, even if we're able to mend it over time. So I think that's one of the biggest issues that Waymakers has faced, because we've lost programs and then tried to get services for other ways, but the magnitude of these and the impact on Orange County is going to be really significant.
Can I ask a couple follow-up questions?
Please.
44, that's not quite half, but it's close
Not
to,
quite half, but yes.
it's really close. And does that directly relate to then your budget as far as,
Yes.
Okay, so that's a significant amount of your operating budget is at risk based on
It is.
the cutting
It
funding.
is.
And with only a little bit amount of time, it's probably hard to find other funding sources that could make up that much of your
Right.
budget, which must be significant with 300 plus employees.
It is. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just, I guess I wanted you as the CEO to react to that. That's one of the challenges of being the leader.
It is. And to be honest, lots of sleepless nights right now.
Mhm.
Because there aren't, as you said, having that big of a gap with pretty short time frame to remedy it is really challenging, and because it impacts our staff, obviously, and it impacts the services that we provide. So, we're trying to look at both angles of this and make the best decisions we can in really difficult circumstances. I think the good news is that we will continue to offer these services. It's just going to look different, at least for a while.
Yeah, and in the 28 years that you've been there, 28 years, right, Waymakers,
Yes.
this is probably the most significant challenge the organization has faced.
It absolutely is. It
So
absolutely is.
So they need you the most right now, Ronnetta.
Right.
So
They do. And hopefully we'll all step up. One of the things that's so great about Waymakers is that we really have good teams. And so this isn't something that I'm exclusively trying to deal with without feedback or without support from just amazing team members. So
yeah, it takes everyone. You need every good idea you can come up with.
absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, so now let's look towards September. Seems like a while away, but it'll be here before we know it. I don't want to rush through summer, though, ladies and gentlemen. I am so looking forward to a California summer. You have a barn bash on September the 28th. Can you describe what I just said, what the purpose of it is, how
That's
people
right.
can get involved?
So the barn bash actually takes place in the barn at Strawberry Farms, and we really developed this event as a community-based event. So we want, obviously, we want to get sponsorships and we want to raise money through this event, but we also want to bring in the community. We want to help people know a little bit more about Waymakers and our community partners. So we have great music at this event, great food at this event, fun games, lots of things for kids to do and for old people to do, all the way across the board. And then we're going to throw in a little bit of education in that process. And we've made the price point purposely low so that everybody can attend. One of the other things that we've done with this event is that the sponsorships include the opportunity to sponsor client families. So we have client families that come to this event and are able to have a great time, and their kids have a lot of fun. So that's really wonderful. And the events, so primarily we're looking for sponsorships as our fundraising tool for this event. And the sponsorships and the funds that we are able to raise really go to support Waymakers programming. And obviously we have gaps right now. So we'll have gaps in victim services, and we'll be looking to help assist in all of those arenas. And it's participation in this really helps support vulnerable youth and families who are here in Orange County. And so it's a great event. It's casual. It's easy. You don't have to dress up or do anything like that. It's a lot of fun, and everybody should come.
Is it an afternoon, an evening?
It's an afternoon to evening. It starts at 4 and goes till about 8. And so nice family time there. And we really like to focus on families and bringing people together, because that's Waymakers is about, family and support systems and helping people feel great. And so that's what the event does.
So if someone is listening live today on one of the streams, or maybe in the future on the podcast, and they would like to get involved as a sponsor, how do they do that? Where do they go?
There's information on our website, and then they can always contact me through LinkedIn, or just go to our website and you can find me.
And what is your website?
Our website is waymakersoc.org.
And if they want to find you on LinkedIn, how do they do
If
that?
they want to find me on LinkedIn, the easiest way to do it is just Ronnetta Johnson, and then you can throw in Waymakers. But there's not a lot of us, so it's just got to get the 2 N's and the 2 T's in there.
Well, I've looked forward to having you on the program. I do appreciate your telling us the way it is and the impact on your organization. I hope that from being on our show in some small way, that helps you cover the gap a little bit that you're facing with as the CEO. And thank you for being a guest on our show today. Well,
thank you. It's been a true pleasure.
I'd like to thank the audience. You're a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Ronnetta's show now joins our archives of close to 1,500 episodes. And if you're an executive director, chief executive, the leader of a nonprofit here in Orange County, or you're a leader of a for-profit Orange County-based company, and you too would like to share your story with our audience, then reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I. Coincidentally, that's also our company's website, rickfranzi.com. And between Haley Stern, our producer, and myself, we can get you set up to be a future guest on our program. Until the next time we all have a chance to be together, I hope all of your decisions move your organization in a positive direction.